Welcome students to the course Bioinformatics for Biologists. In this lecture, what we will do is we will start by understanding the practicality of R as a language and how we are going to use R, various aspects of R. If you remember, in the last lecture I have discussed and introduced you basic languages, basic idea of Unix, what are command lines and how we can use that. From now onwards we will focus only on R, because we had discussed that Unix, although is very good, has its own limitations, and that is why this language R has been developed. So, this lecture focuses on a basic principle how to get you started. So, this lecture is about how to get started with R, and we will start by basic introduction to R. What is R? How can you install it in your laptops? What do we need, and how does it look in your laptop once you install this program? So, before we go into the nitty-gritties and applicability of R, so R has many properties. One of the most important properties, it is object oriented, it can be interpreted, not compiled, and most importantly it is designed for statistical computing. Students, remember that biology, many analysis whenever you do, statistics is a very key feature of that, because you have to perform a statistical analysis to come up with a data, whether that data is reliable or not. You have to set cutoffs, and that you can do only and only if you apply proper statistics. And another feature of R is that it can be easily extended with packages. What do we mean by that? What actually we mean by that is that you can perform million types of analysis, wide type of analysis, if you have a package for that, and packages keep coming, new packages, and also the packages which are available, they always see an upgrade. It is again like an application what you have in your phone. You might see that a new app has come into market which can be used for a given process. Parallelly, you can also get a upgrade on the existing application in your phone. What is R? As the title of this slide says, it is a language tailored for data analysis. Now, data analysis, in case of biologists, we specifically focus on particular kind of data, what we nowadays call as next generation data, which is coming out from RNA sequencing analysis, from exome sequencing analysis, chromatin immunoprecipitation sequencing analysis, n number of sequencing analysis which people keep doing. You can be a population geneticist, you can be a entomologist, you can have diverse set of data, but eventually that data has to be analyzed. This R gives you that opportunity, gives you that platform to analyze that data, and the advantage with R is it is an open source, and most importantly the third slide what it says is an ecosystem of packages. So, this environment has access to multiple kinds of packages. In case of R, you can do multiple kind of analysis, and it offers specialized tools for every area of biology. As I said, you can go from evolution biology to population genetics to metabolism to cancer biology, just based on what kind of package you are interested into. Now, is R the only alternative? The answer is of course not. There are multiple ways of analyzing a data. There are people who like Python, which is a programming language, or you can use MATLAB. So, these are the two alternatives which are very commonly used by people, alternate to R. There are others as well, but these are the most commonly used ones. If we have to make an analysis that why are we choosing R over Python, especially for biologists, because you have to understand that majority of people who are biologists are not well versed with computational analysis. They do not know how to code, they do not know anything, any idea about this whole programming business. So, for them, what is the advantage of having R? Python is an excellent general purpose programming language, whereas R is specifically built for data analysis and statistics, and this is the biggest advantage of it. because for biologists this is what they want. First, statistical modeling excellence. Because there are so many built-in statistical tests, you do not have to make those calculations, you just run that package and the R program is going to do that analysis for you and dwell out data what you want. And this is the most commonly used in biological research. Second advantage what R gives over Python is the visualization superiority. We all have to make graphs or plots for publications. Biological data, you cannot present it just like an Excel sheet or a table. We always want to present it like a heat map, like a graph, like there are multiple ways, and this is where R holds an advantage over Python. What you can do is that you can use applications like ggplot, which we will talk about in the course later on, which creates publication ready figures. Then bioconductor ecosystem. The bioconductor ecosystem has specialized packages for literally everything. You have it from if you are studying genomics or transcriptomics, proteomics or metabolomics, any kind of that, you have packages available in R. So again and again I am saying that R is really specialized tool only and only for biologists. Finally, it is reproducible research. If you want to do any kind of analysis and you want to publish it, the thing which you are always afraid is it reproducible or not? Like we do our experiments, if we write a protocol and somebody else wants to reproduce, he or she should get a similar kind of results, and we call such experiments as reproducible. Similarly, in case of analysis also, what we always aim for is that whatever analysis we are doing, and if we follow certain steps, certain packages, certain cutoffs, the output also should come the same. And here R gives you an advantage because there is something called as R Markdown, we will talk about that as well, which integrates analysis, visualization and documentation. So when you publish your data, if anybody else in the world follows these steps, would always get the same analysis, or at least can check exactly how you have done. And if we start comparing that how R or the bioconductor is leading the bioinformatics field, you can see that by this graph that how many downloads of R has happened across years, and you can see already that this graph is increasing. So as the years are passing, the number of people who are downloading R is rapidly increasing, which it speaks for itself that how R has become an integral part of data analysis for biologists. How do we start with R? So R based bioconductor is the leading repository of bioinformatics softwares, and what you can do is that let's start by setting it up. So if you open your laptop and you start, first thing what you have to do is you have to start by downloading R. So if you have to download R, what you can do is go to this page called as rproject.r, and it says that R project for statistical computing. And you can see that here you have it's given as download R. So it's like any program you have to download. Within this, what you will always do is if you want to download it for Windows, you want to download it for Mac, always check the configuration of your system, whether it is a 32 or 64-bit system, and accordingly you can download this program. First thing is, whenever you are going to download, you will get this page of CRAN where you can start downloading, and you will also get these CRAN mirrors from which the download begins. Every country has its host, and then you have also a cloud project or Zero, which automatically redirects the servers sponsored by RStudio. But if you are not even understanding this concept, it's fine. Basically you have to start downloading R, and the links will open, just follow them and start downloading. Once you go to links, as the slide says, you will have this download R for Linux, download R for Mac, or download R for Windows. If you are using just a Linux machine or a system, you have to use a different version. If you are doing it for Mac or if you are doing it for Windows, you have to accordingly choose what you want. Students always remember that whenever you are downloading, please note down or pay attention to which version of R you are downloading, because what will happen is many times we see that we run into compatibilities issues. Many times packages do not work with a certain version of R, and then you have to dig in, and then more than often what we see is it is the issue of the version what we are using. Now once you have this R, it will say that are you downloading it for first time, yes, and then go to base, and as any software you will get this picture coming on your screen, go to next, and then the R will start downloading for your, this example is for Windows because most of us use Windows as an operating system. Now once the R has downloaded, you will see this completing R for Windows and it says finish. Once you have R, then next thing what you have to do is you have to start setting up RStudio. Like R, for RStudio, go to rstudio.com, and again here you will get this RStudio Server Pro. Go to at the top, you have the button called as download, click on that and you will get these options. Now as you can see, you have RStudio Desktop, RStudio Desktop but a commercial version. If somebody wants a paid and commercial version, if you want a open source license, a more better version which is Server Pro, then you have to pay for that, but most of the times this RStudio Desktop should do fine for your work. Now click on the desktop and then you start installing it. So exactly like we have installed RStudio can be also installed. Start, download RStudio and your download will start working. Here you can see within the list at the bottom you have different versions for Windows, for Mac and for Unix based machines. Again once like you saw for RStudio, the download begins, you can go to next and the download will start. And then once you have downloaded R and RStudio, this is how a screen is going to look like. If you see this screen coming up on your laptop, that means the first step you have done is of learning R is that you have installed the environment. Now what we will do is first we will go through one by one the buttons here. You can also click on each of these buttons. One are at the top like file, edit, code, view, plots, session, build, debug, profile, tools and help. Then you also see on the right side you have environment, history, connection and tutorials. You have import data sets, you have global environment, you have files, plots, packages, help and viewer. So you have many data buttons here. Try to click yourself and see what shows up. So we will go through some of these in step by step and then try to understand that what these buttons provide you, what are the usage of these buttons, what advantage do these give you. So the first button is edit. In edit column, it is at the top left side. If you click it, what you can do is we can copy paste as well as clear our working space. So if you want to have a R code which is available, if you have copied it from somewhere, go to edit and you can paste it using edit button. Parallelly, if you are done with your work or you do think that the code which is written is not correct, you want to remove it, then you can also use this button. The second is after edit is the button called as code. So here what we can do is we can go to the functions in our code and we can use colored parenthesis in our code. So what you can do is you can get the source file, what is the code, how it is running, all those things, all those details you can get. Then comes view. So as we see it in case of Word document or PowerPoint, here also this view button allows you is the outlook of the environment. That means if you are supposedly making a plot and that plot is looking really small, so what you can do is you can use view button, go and completely zoom in, look properly how does that plot looks like and then decide whether that plot is useful for you or not. Then comes another button called as session. So session is nothing but the moment when you start working in the R environment. and every time you start working, the machine will log it as one session. So if you want to continue with that session, you will always have to save that session. If you want to terminate it, you will have to terminate that, and if you want to change or delete that session, again all these options you can do is using this session button, and you can see that it says as new session, terminate R, restart R, and set as working directory. You can also make that session as your working directory, so that when you come back again and start working, you can work in that particular session. So this is a very important button which has to be remembered. Then comes debug. As it is the basic of any computational language or environment, that it will have errors, and debug function helps you in where is that issue in your code, what is you are doing wrong, and why the R is not able to process your command, or why it is showing error. So for that you can go to debug, and then what it will do is it will jump to a specific line where we think that we can have our error. So if you have written a long analysis code and you have done packages one after the other, but there is some problem somewhere, debug button is going to be of very helpful, and you have to use it again and again and again, because it's very natural that everybody will have an error in their analysis, and debug option can help you in figuring it out where is the problem. So in tools button, we can install our packages, and we can move to terminal, edit the codes, and do many other shortcuts. Tools will give you multiple options, and you can do many things, but we will not go into so much details as I do not want to confuse you. We will just talk into very basic operations which every student should be able to do. So if you see at the top, it is saying install packages, and it also says as check for package updates. So as you do in case of applications, if you download on your phone, similarly tools page gives you that option that you can always look for installing any new package, or if you have to look for updates. It is a possibility that a package which was working 2 days back suddenly has stopped working in your machine. So what you have to do is go to tools, check for package updates, and if there is a package update lying, please update it, and it is highly likely that now your package will start reworking again. And then every software, anything which you see always has a help button. The problem is we never click it. So if you have any problems with R, and if you are not able to understand, please always go to help button, and if you are stuck at any function, it will give you many information, and it is highly advisable for students, please click into our help. It check for updates, accessibilities, shortcuts, markdown references, diagnostics, so many things you can do, and the more you work on this system, the more you will learn every day. So help is definitely a button which you will have to look for, and it is there for your help itself. Then coming to the right side, so left side all buttons we have talked about, tools and help button and packages and view and so many things. What is the things written on the right side? On the right side what you see is something called as environment, history, connections and tutorials. In the environment what you will see is that whatever files you have uploaded, suppose this is the files, I can see R history and so many things. So all these files will be visible to me with whom I have been working. So environment will give you the options of whatever things you have been doing in your environment, which file have you uploaded, which file have you analyzed, what is the output, everything will be available there. Then if you also want to connect it to outside, so if there is it can happen is once you become more expert in data analysis, that the data is not available in your computer, but it is somewhere say on a server or on a cloud, then the environment allows you to connect to these workspaces to external data source like cloud data, or it can be also via SQL connection. And then you can also specifically, there are tutorials for this available on YouTube, and if you are going that far, definitely you are advised to watch these. Once this workspace has loaded, first thing what you have to always do is go to the working directory, and for going that, what you can do is just write this code get wd brackets, and once you write get working directory, it will tell you that this is your working directory. Once you have this, you can set it as working directory. If this is the working directory where you want to work, then you can do set working directory and the address of your working directory, which here is home cytolab, and then you can set it. So now you have gone to working directory, set it now as your working directory, and then here you can start writing or performing analysis in R. So this is how it should look. If you are writing, so anything what you are writing will show up in blue color or a colored code, and then once you press enter, it will keep on executing. What are the packages in R? We will talk about separately in detail how to install packages, what are the different types of packages, but remember that the R comes up, or when you download R, there will be many packages which are by default installed, and some things you will have to do that. So this is a list. Go to packages and then you will see in your library what packages are already installed in your R. So once you know that a certain package is already installed, you will not reinstall it, and sometimes you can also check if there is a package installed but it is not working, then you can always remove and work again with that. This is again an environment where you had get working directory and set working directory. Now if you want to select and import files, then what you can do is go into your import data sets. If you want to import files, go into import data sets, and then here you can see that what kind of files are there, and for example here we have a count file. So count file is nothing but count table file which we had, which contains, as you can see here, it is a CSV file similar to what we see in case of Excel sheets. So here you have on the left side you have name of genes A, B, C, D, E, and on the top right you have wild type 1, 2, 3 versus mutant 1, 2, 3. So it will always come up as a matrix. Remember in case of R, the data is always coming up as matrix. Matrix means anything which has a certain number of rows and columns, and it will be filled with digits. This is how a count table or a CSV file will look. So once you import it, the sample will be loaded or the file will be loaded, and you can already see that okay, gene A has 120, 150, 130 counts in this wild type, whereas mutant it has 300, 280 and 310 counts. Once you are doing all these operations, remember the key to learning R is always saving your data, because it is a pretty common mistake done by students that we keep on writing many things but we do not save what we have done, and then all your hard work is gone. So if you want to save, go to file and you have this option like save or save as, and always save in R format. So your file should always end in .r, so that whenever you are again want to work, click that file or you will open that file and you can start working on that. So remember, even if you are new, every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, make it an habit to save your R, otherwise problems will be there. Finally comes a important aspect of R is vignette. Now vignette is nothing but a complete overview of what you have done. Whenever we use vignette is a PDF of what steps you have done, what was the code you wrote, what it executed and what it meant. So vignette, you will see that whenever you open or go to a package, go to a library, it will always have a vignette PDF, and when you see vignette PDF of any plot, let's say this example is ggplot. So ggplot is a package used for making plots. So go to ggplots and then you will see that there is a vignette package. Once you go to vignette, it will give you details about it. You can read it and you will also understand what many things you can do within the package, how to make a graph, what is the input, what is the output, what are the other small modifications you can perform there. So, with this students, we are at the end of lecture number 2 for this week, and I am pretty sure that after hearing this lecture you should be able to download R, and you should be able to download R Studio, and you should be able to clicking on many buttons, making your own directory, setting your directory, how to save it, and you should be able to move data within R and move outside that R environment. Thank you very much for your attention.